Nothing.
So,
Her room and her family.
I'm gonna roll around the room here a little bit. Josh, any thoughts or comments that you'd like to make since you were you had extra assignments in this round?
I'm good here.
Okay.
I'm good.
I think everything that all the changes that we talked about, I think it was the education part, like that's reading a lot better.
For sure.
I'm fine.
Okay.
Good.
Catherine, do you want to just real briefly, you mentioned there were some things that we included in that weren't in the draft. Do you want to just touch on those briefly?
Yeah, and maybe I can just sort of speak them, and if we need to look at it, we can.
I mean, I know we were expecting changes still, so I think just a quick review would be
okay.
beneficial.
So I would say the majority of the changes came as a result of the review of the Regional Planning Commission. And so they actually looked at the town plan yesterday in a public hearing, and well, the Planning Advisory Committee looked at it, and they're the planners in the county, essentially. But they agreed that it met all the requirements and are recommending it for approval of the Regional Planning Commission, which is good. So they, in their review, they did give me a memo that had a number of really small editorial things. So really the changes that you see are as a result of that. So for example, on page 4 of the, in the introduction, they suggested removing Milton and Underhill from our surrounding towns, which I added those in as a result of public comment because they're only touching in a corner, and they said that really doesn't need to be in there. So I removed that. In this section, transportation section, they suggested adding a comment about air quality. Oh no, I'm sorry. It's an action about air quality, and working on reducing problems improving air quality. That's a better way to say that. And then also on page 19, again, this is the action, would be to create a energy revolving fund. They thought that would be a good action for us.
And what is that?
It would be a way to help fund energy improvements, energy efficiency improvements in town. So we had a fund, it could be, help somebody who maybe wouldn't be able to do some of the upgrades of their house. So whether, it's replacing windows or something, it could be more of a grant kind of program.
Yeah.
Here's a question mark. If we're going to do a accumulation fund like that, is that something that's got to go through the select board, or they have to generate it?
It would.
So the next question might be, when we talk about development, and would that be? I know we've talked about offsets before. Like if they do an offset for water, groundwater, they folks came in. They can't remember the right terminology right now, but they did work in one area and were able to apply the benefits development in another area. So the total of amounts of the thinking like the project they did that Larry Burke did here for water reclamation, they applied some of the benefits from development somewhere else, so they were able to offset something here. Could we potentially use something like that as a offset during a development review if somebody comes in and be able to apply direct funds into that account?
Yeah,
that would be a community improvement fund.
Funding mechanism.
Yeah, I mean, I remember we've had, when Ned used to talk about always requiring that people did green development and stuff like that, but we can't necessarily imply and do all that, but we could potentially require developments to contribute towards that. In lieu of that, contribute towards. We do it with Parks and Rec. We do it with
the impact fees for
Okay.
Yeah, that would be a good other step. Say. So the administration and town manager's office took a look at the plan and realized that there wasn't a section in the government section that about their department. So there's a little add-on about their department and a couple actions from their strategic plan that have been added. And finance also, again, they didn't have any action, so there's one action added about improving the capital improvement plan. In the library, these are again in the action. There was some redundancy in the actions, so this was a suggestion to just kind of get rid of some of those. And the Community Justice Center asked for a couple actions to be added, and in the IT department as well. And then jumping into chapter 2 in the economic development section, there was a suggestion from the Regional Planning Commission to explain more about what is meant by average wage. So there's a discussion about that, but just defining what an average is. So Jean helped with that. And then in the housing section, the new Housing Act, Act 47, requires a discussion about seasonal dwellings in town. I don't really know. I don't think they mean like a Airbnb kind of thing. So not a short-term rental, but more of a seasonal dwelling. Yeah, so I looked that up in the census data and added that in.
Do we have many of those?
There are 44,
Really?
and in 2000 there were 22. So we have more now than
Wow.
we did.
Van down
As well.
the van down by the river.
So it's funny, I looked for the year 2010, which I thought like a 10-year increment, and it showed 0. And I'm like, I'm not so sure that's right. So I went back to I used the 2000 for, I don't feel like we lost 22 and then gained 44 in 10 years. So, and then, yeah, so I think that is it for the changes.
Where are they? I mean,
The seasonal,
yeah.
no, I don't know. And, maybe our assessor might know.
It'd be interesting
Yeah.
to see if they're sort of, located within a particular vicinity or whether they're just spread hit or miss throughout the town.
I know Vermont has quite a few
Well, yeah.
overall. I
but
don't think
lakes
Essex
and
being
things.
the one- right, exactly. Yeah, lakes and in the mountains areas.
Right.
But yeah,
It'd be
it would be
interesting.
interesting.
Yeah.
You mentioned the IT department added some stuff. Do you know where is that? I can't find
Yeah,
it.
so that actually was added after here, let me pull it up, after that version that you, so that's why you can't find it.
Oh, Millennium.
So it's an action. Let's see. Oh wait, that's finance, sorry. IT. I feel like that first one should be
Yeah.
like develop disaster recovery and business continue to develop.
Number 942 doesn't say anything.
It looks like it's redundant from 943.
Oh, you're right.
943 is the
Yeah. Good catches here. So yeah, we can get rid of this.
I think
This one.
943 is the
No.
completed one. 942 is what should be deleted.
Okay. Right.
So what number is that?
It is not showing in that version
Oh.
column. That's because I just got these. So I will delete the 942.
I feel like maybe develop and implement disaster recovery
Yeah.
plan. Okay, thank you, Ken.
Sure.
So
Glad we looked at that.
commissioners around the table again, anybody have any concerns, questions about the additional, we made some not minor, but easy updates based on the Regional Planning Commission and the other departments in the community, which we wouldn't really be editing their material too much anyways. Do we have any concerns or questions about reviewing that? Any additional review of that? Josh?
No concerns.
Okay. Anybody online want to have any additional questions? Would like to hear about anything else, or would you like to move forward? Because if not, we're gonna close the public hearing, because I think we've been looking at this as a commission, and this is the opportunity for the community to provide us some commentary, additional commentary. And I would like to note again that this has been a very interesting process, very different process than any I've been through so far, in that much of the work, much of the effort was done with direct community involvement, not just post review. It was a right up front and engagement from the very beginning of this. So it feels like this is a much broader plan.
Lots of ownership.
Smoother too.
See any action? So, not getting anything from the folks online. Last chance. Oh, Sharon, please.
Sorry. Sorry I can't put my picture on. I'm on my phone walking around the house, so. I just have one question about a word being added, just because of all the controversy over Saxon Hill. There's a line, I think it's on, this is a new version, so it might not, it was on page 10. It says something about infill development with existing industrial and commercial zoning, but they added like be promoted, and it doesn't seem like we should be promoting industrial development. Is that one of the goals of the town plan? To promote industrial development? I think it was just a word added that I don't know if it was meant that way.
Sharon, what you're working off from, does it have line numbers?
I can
Yeah, it
pull it up
was.
if you
Yeah,
want.
I had it from the old plan. It was around, I think it was on page 10, and maybe you took it out. Lines 301 and 302. But I'm looking at the last version. Or
One of the action items?
It's a policy for
I think it was a
economic
policy,
development.
yeah. And I just think adding that word sort of gives, a certain developer that's coming in and asking for changes, great way to appeal a decision of the planning commission, not to give him extra uses, or anyone. But it's just, it was odd that word was added.
So it's line 387 here.
Oh, sorry about that.
No, that's
So you've
okay.
done-
This
moved
You've done a lot
around.
of additions since I looked at it last.
Yeah, just these couple ones with like the IT department and
Yeah. I'm
administration.
not complaining.
Yeah.
I mean, good work.
Thank you, Sharon.
It's a beautiful town plan.
Where did this come from? I mean, this came economic development. This.
It had to do with, I think we're down too far because I had lines 301 and 302 unless that much was added.
It's very possible that much has been added because images and stuff like that have been added as well.
Well, I can look for it later and just email you. I don't have to
So
hold
it's
the whole
not this Sharon, this S2, S1 infill development within existing industrial and commercial zoning districts shall be promoted.
Right.
Yeah.
And the be promoted was what was added. It was like I noticed that wasn't there, and then it changed the line a bit so that it, the policy was to promote industrial development.
Yeah, I think the idea of this is that we're talking about infill development instead of sprawling development.
Instead of creating new.
Yeah.
using
Yeah,
Just
for
words.
industrial and commercial, both, not just industrial.
It's the promotion, the word promotion that worries me. I get it, like you want infill development versus,
Yeah.
scattered everywhere, but the line doesn't read that way. It reads like, we're promoting industrial and commercial development. If I was just a regular person reading it.
Sure.
So Sharon, what
I
would
mean,
you just
Maybe put the promote where the promote infill development versus, you could just put the word in a different place, like, or, infill versus
Or support.
sprawl.
Prioritized.
I'm thinking that we've been through quite a bit. So that, I mean, the idea from my understanding from economic is we want space that's already been allocated to use it. And not back.
And I wish it would say that instead of it just sounds like you're promoting industrial development. I think,
Would,
that could just create a huge argument when you're trying to get the plan approved in the meetings.
Sharon, would support be a preferable?
Yeah, but in front of the infill instead of after the industrial development, because then it would be,
But put the emphasis on infill.
it would be, grammatically you'd be referring to the right goal.
What if you just put the promoted word
Or
as the first
encourage
word?
infill?
Put it at the beginning.
Promote infill.
Exactly.
But it's still.
Because I don't think it was intentional. It just, I'm just thinking, working for lawyers that, if I was a developer trying to appeal a denial, I'd go, but you're supposed to, here it says it right in the town plan. It's a goal.
I think that makes sense.
I think that's an easy enough. Thank you, Sharon.
Okay. Have a good night.
You too.
Okay, so back to the table. Sharon, you can put your. That's it. Good.
I'm trying.
With that,
I'll just leave the meeting. Thank you.
Thanks, Sharon.
Easier. Bye-bye.
with that, we've got a name on here. Our recording clerk is asking for the name for iPad Mark. Since that's just for the record purposes, is that possible to get? Okay. So with that, I'm not seeing any additional hands raised or folks coming off mute. So I would look for a motion to close the public hearing.
Move, we close the public hearing.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries 6-0. Public hearing is over. Okay, folks. Are we ready to move this to the select board?
Yep.
Did I hear?
I move that we approve
Thought I heard
the
that.
Essex Town Plan amendments for 2024 and move it to the Select Board for their review and public hearings.
I'll second that.
Any additional discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries 6-0.
Thank you, Catherine.
Thank you, staff, Catherine, everybody. You did. We heard you.
Thank you, everybody.
At this point, I don't really want to hear about other business, but do we have other business?
How do you really feel?
No, I
Just saying.
I don't have anything.
no.
Okay. Then, folks, I would look for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Paula, seconded by Georgia. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We are adjourned 6-0.